Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And this is Elliot Wave Sage. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education, entertainment purposes only. And just want to do quick market overview and where we are. A lot of whipsaw action with the Fed week the week last week, and basically the overall picture still hasn't changed. The SPY, again, bigger picture. This could still be, your WX, and we could be finishing a Y, which means this 3 will be a huge moment for the indices because that would either cap off X, but if we do get this 4 and we get another 5, then I think it negates that structure, in which means the connector wave would extend perhaps a much longer than people anticipate. So we need to kind of be aware of that. So this final swing coming, in the volatility starting to kind of, the bears are trying to wrestle control of the market, but they're just not able to do that yet. Is kind of a tremor of what may be coming soon. A sneak preview of something much worse that's coming, but this was obviously it's just a little too early, and the question is, is that 3 and 4 here, or do we get another dump next week to finish this 4? This would be more typical of a correction that would match the cycle that its matching cycle here would be this turn. You can see how long. Look, if you look, this took quite a while. This seems way too short, but it does. There's no rule against it, but it was pretty intense, the sell-off, and the 4-hour time frame really never broke that cycle. So that's why there's a chance it could be done in a straight down kind of correction, but I think you still need to be cautious next week for the 450 area, and then expect again a bounce, another bounce. And then at some point when this ends, then I think very critical time for the market, because we should get another pullback in either another bounce, which would redo the structure, or this pullback is the start of the essentially a crash wave or a massive correction against this whole cycle in a massive 1-2, 1-2. So we don't know exactly what's ahead, but I do think that a lot of volatility is coming in both directions, and what we saw this week will be what I think we'll expect to see for the next month of trading. So it's going to be really tough for the day trader to make sense of this market right now because of the back and forth choppiness, and I think that will continue for now. Now there's one indice that shows the market is could be more bullish than we expect. The Dow Jones. A lot of people, are confused with this, but I do think you have 5 up here. We topped and then we correct it, and I do think this correction could be finished here at 2, because as you can see, you got to the late 4 bottom, and that's typically where 2 ends. And as you can see, you've now flipped resistance to support. This was massive resistance that goes back, I have to go back to, I think, 2021 here. Massive resistance area here. We saw some massive corrections when we got to this level, but it looks like the market has now flipped that to support. And it's tried here, it tried here, and it tried here. And so if this setup is right, then this is going to have a pretty explosive move coming. And if that's the case, then I would expect the SPY could erase divergence. And if it does that, it would extend to all-time highs, where you have right now, we have this end in 5. This could be another 1, 2. So the alternative, and again, this is a more bullish alternative, is this whole impulse is a 1 and a 2, and we're out. And then that syncs up with the Dow Jones. And so that's why shorting here isn't really a good idea. because the Dow is telling you something much more bullish could be coming as it comes out of this massive consolidation that it's been in really since the start of the correction. And it's just starting to break out of this this area. So it has a lot more room to run. And then the triple Qs have a very something interesting I noticed today. If you go to the 45-minute chart, you could see this peak erased and exceeded all these other peaks within this impulse. So by my system, this could not be a wave 5 leg. So the SPY, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're in 4. Right now, in a 1, 2, 3, 4. But this can't be a 5 if we took out all the RSI peaks. This would signify another 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, syncing up with the Dow. I know these things are hard to believe. You don't want to hear if you're bearish, but you have to manage your risk accordingly and understand where the market is and what it's telling you right now. So this count is a possible count that I have with technology, and of course nobody would ever believe that, but I'm just showing you what the charts are saying to me, and then of course if that doesn't play out, then it's back to where you have a 1, 2, and then this is really a 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and it tops around 400. So that's why it's really dangerous to short, but because the market hasn't decided, it's really hard to just go long. So that's why it's more like just a sidelines market on the indices, but individual stocks may give you a setup. The IWM should continue higher. This is a more conservative count in the IWM right now, where it's essentially finishing a third wave and a fourth, and then again a fifth wave. And then again, this is more like the more bearish interpretation out of this. But this could easily, again, I could change it to become a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then small caps is about to have its wave 3 synced up with the rest of the market, which I'm leading toward this being the right count. And again, flipping the trend line to now support, testing that. So this is the setup in the market at the moment, and again, I know it's not what people feel like fundamentally it should be doing, logically it should be doing, but this is what the chart is saying, and we don't know behind the scenes why it's so bullish in the shorter time frame, because I think people may be anticipating China stimulus. They're anticipating the Fed's pausing and stopping completely, and maybe even starting to cut rates. So there's something being baked into the market that we just don't see on the bullish side. Now on the bearish side, we do have potentially an earnings recession that, if it could hit big cap tech, that would definitely collapse the indices, but that has not happened yet. And so now Q2 is kind of behind us, and now what is Q2? Now you have to wait on Q3, and so now it looks like that's kind of where things are from an earnings standpoint. Q2 was okay, not great, but Q3 will now be the next hurdle for the market to try to figure out if it can have this recession materialize that some people think is coming. So that's what I look at in the market right now. So that's why it's still up to me a buy the dip moment on big down days with good setups. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of answer some of your questions, and I think I'll answer one. So I had a question about KAS on Twitter, and I thought it'd just be easier for me to look at it here. KAS. Okay, let's take a look at it. So it looks pretty good right here. If I look at KAS, wanted to see it take this peak. Here, this is your connector. And so if we look at that, it didn't quite hit the buy area, but as you can see, the divergence is erased. So it looks like this is a pretty good correction of this move. So you would probably call that a 1 and a 2 out. And now you're in this cycle. And as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peaks in the RSI. So there's your first wave up. Probably something like that is what I'm thinking. And then a pullback. Something like this. So I'm looking for this as the count on it. Now, one thing to keep in mind, since it's only 3 up here, this could still be a massive correction. So this is not a good time to go buy this. It could still do that, and you could get in trouble. I'm sorry, it'll be a WXY, something like this down, and if that happens, that's possible. So you really need this high taken out, and then if you can take this high out on this pullback, then it gives you an entry, but there's no guarantee, but there's no really good trade here other than this is what I think the chart is showing. All right, that's my look at KAS. Yeah, hey, good morning, everybody. So UNG, I don't trade natural gas. It's if anything it's just a long-term hold. But if you're so inclined to trade it, it should bounce. Again, this looks like 5 swings up, so we should get another swing at least out of this. So the question is, are we still in 2 or not? And that's yet to be seen. So it can easily still do that. So it's in an area where it's sidelines. It's a sideline area. If it for some reason does drop, then it could be a buy opportunity here, but it may already be ready to roll higher. And so it's really a 50-50 toss up here. So UNG would look the same, it would probably have kind of the same structure here. Let's take a look. So UNG, so as you see here, you would have been stopped out on that trade. So that's actually a warning sign that the market's more bearish than we expect it to be. Now this could be just a flat, which it probably is. So my thinking with UNG is it has to hold 686. If it doesn't, then you're going to get that double correction lower I showed you, where it's going to retest these lows at 585. So this is the pivot, 685, and if it holds up, then you should see that upside. If it doesn't, then it's going to double correct and retest this low. If it breaks the low, that would be more bearish, and that would open up prices to 542. So this is kind of how I look at it, but this kind of sharp correction is sometimes you see with a flat correction. So we had this flat now play out, and so it has to really hold this level here going forward for UNG. So Intel bounced, right? In my update, Intel, I said it's got a big move coming, and I was leaning towards higher given where the market sentiment was. But let's look at everything and see how it performed. So I still had it. So this was my count originally. The question is, if we didn't take out 37, then it's still possible, but it's, again, very unlikely. Look at the candle too. It's just, you see that it's being supported. So I think you have to negate this possibility now. Let me change it a little bit around. So it seems unlikely. It seems like the bottom was here and here. I'll still leave that down there just in case. And now either you're looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's take a look at the RSI. So we haven't broke. That's the daily. And the weekly hasn't broke. So we are still, let's see if there's divergence. Doesn't look like divergence there. Yeah, this is a tough one to say, like the shorter time frame, because it could be something like this, and then it pulls back, and then runs, or it could be something more bullish, where it's. But I don't. I think in it probably would have taken it out, but my guess is it could do something like this, and then pull back. So. It's turning higher after a massive multi-year decline. So to me, it looks like this is moving higher, but the shorter time frame, it's too tricky to guess. Too many combinations and permutations on what this could be. But I do think that's probably the low now, given what I'm looking at. And so my guess is it should run higher from here, but do what's best for you. Yeah, this looks like 5 up, so it could very well be this 1 2 1 2. It could very well be this. Okay, so something, and then this. It's just the shorter time frames. It's just so tough. It's too many possibilities, but I do believe it's the directions up and out of this massive decline. Okay, thanks for the 10, Anonymous. I really appreciate that. Riot versus Mara. Do you still think Riot will outperform? Yeah, I'll look at it. They're both good. Someone's asked me before about that, and I said, why don't you just split your money between those two? Instead of putting your whole position in one or the other, split it, and then yes, you might not pick the right one, but I'll give you my take again on which one is more bullish or not. So Mara, if I look here, see, it's always being front run. It's never making it to these areas that you typically see because it's so bullish. And we saw that here, right? You wanted to get in, but it got front run. It never gave you. It gave you very shallow C or Y legs, right? Barely anything. You really never had a chance to get in on it. So that's bullish. That's very bullish behavior overall. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I look at the reversal pattern that's starting to form here. That's pretty significant as well. Okay, now let's look at Riot. Riot kind of has done the same thing here. It short circuit. It did not give you a good opportunity because it's so bullish. So it behaved just like Mara did. Now its wave 3 looks more extended. Now its wave 4 did give you an entry here. It looks like you missed it by a few pennies, but that's a good entry. Okay, so that's interesting. The momentum is much higher, and let's take a look at the next resistance area. 27.37, and it's right on it. See, it's right at its resistance area. So to me, Riot's still the best buy. I mean, in my opinion, Riot looks a little better than Mara to me, but not by much. But I would probably, if I had to pick one, I'd probably be picking Riot based on the chart I'm looking at. But I think they both will move very aggressively to the upside. So thanks for that. Okay, Litecoin, is testing traders' patience. So Litecoin negated the bearish chart, which is fine. So now we have to look at the more bullish count. Let's take a look. I apologize. I haven't updated this chart in a while, so let's take a look at it. So Litecoin, let's kind of, so here's your 5-wave move down, a connector, and now we're moving down in C. Okay. So let's confirm the target area. So we want to see this this 3-wave move decline and erase divergence. So you're looking at $81. So that would have been where to buy it, and that's the long-term trend line, as long as it stays above this 71. So we could drop that to 71. So that's kind of the buy area. Now here's the thing. The downtrend line has broke. We know the market seems to be more bullish than people expected. The bounces are being supported. We saw silver break 25. We saw the dollar drop, but then it rallied. But I believe it's gonna puke again. It's just shaking out people. So I do think there's a chance it could be done here. But I hadn't looked at the divergence yet to see if what that looks like. If you look at the 4-hour, it's essentially right where you would expect it. Also, the 4-hour RSI hasn't broke that downtrend line yet. Let's look at the daily. The daily's okay, but I would like to see that 4-hour capitulate more. So this is a very tricky chart here, because I could have 3 down and then 3 down here and change this to a WXY structure and call it finished with the trend line break. So I could do that, but then I can also call it a 5-wave move with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we get a puke, a capitulation puke down here. Okay, you see that? Even with the trend line break in, because there's really no rule around trend lines break, because they can extend and stuff, but it is just something, it's definitely a warning sign to the bears that the downtrend may be in fact over if we get more upside follow through and break 96. So it's shorter time frame, it's very tricky, but longer time frame, it's clearly bullish now with a massive 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 setup. And I do believe we will be talking about $150 Litecoin in the fall. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty confident Litecoin would get up there. But this is trader wars right now. Day trader battles. And they're trying, if you knew Litecoin was going to go to 150 and then maybe in the next bull run retest all-time highs, what are you doing? You're trying to, if you're a whale, you're trying to push this price down and load up as much as possible. And I think that's what's maybe trying to take place here with these mini crashes that we're seeing. And I do think, though, it will resolve in a really large move higher. Bitcoin Cash is kind of in a similar situation. 3, a connector, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like that could still in 5, so it could go to 221, and then it's ready to come out of this one again, 1, 2, 1, 2 pattern. I don't call this a 3-4 because it's been too intense of a sell-off for wave 4, so it's correcting the entire cycle. So I do think this is, to me, 3, and then we're coming down here. But this one is not, maybe right at the short term it seemed like Litecoin's a little more bullish. But again, these are obviously classic bull flag type wedges and patterns that just need time to play out, and then should resolve to the upside. And then Bitcoin Cash should get to 480, 520, maybe as high as 600. Could have a cycle blow off top at 800, and then a massive drop back down to 3. So we don't know how, but I do think this is the early innings of the first wave off the lows with a massive move lower to come. Just like Bitcoin, I do expect this move off the lows, and then a really scary drop that may even come back down to 22,000 and shake out everyone. So you could see all these gains erased, and then you get the 3 of 3 move in 2024, late 2024. So you gotta think about that. You may want to take some profit here, knowing that this type of dump should happen, and that would probably time nicely with the market pulling back and dropping from the October low cycle. So we'll have to wait and see, but we don't know the future. But that seems like the most likely path. But like, of course, the altcoins trade with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin hit our buy area, guys. It did. Like I showed you guys the buy area. It took the dump, and it actually rebounded in 3 waves. So again, the crypto could be ready to break out. It could be ready to break out. I'd be careful being too bearish. It just hasn't tipped its hand yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks out next week, especially with China breaking out and the dollar. I do think this is kind of where we are with a 1-2-1-2 setup with this push higher coming. Okay, thanks for the 10. Cardano. I'll look at Cardano if you have a specific altcoin in mind. I just gave you a couple, not really altcoins. They're big cap, but if you have something else. So we did break that low. That's always never a good sign in the scheme of things. So this cycle ended here, okay? And then we corrected in 3 and dropped in 3, so we should come back up. So this is a connector wave. Unfortunately, the way the chart reads to me, now I could change my mind depending on it. So you see I have that divergence on the weekly. The daily, let's see if we have it on the daily. No divergence on the daily. So what that tells me is we have 3 waves down here, and it's a very unusual pattern because it recovered. So let's get rid of some of this. So what happened here, it looks like to me, you have a W, X, Y, and Y was just very shallow. So this should be your trade in low 21.9. If that breaks, then it could end up back down to this area. So this really has to stay supported here. But you could have this move. It's kind of not an ideal structure, but it's what the RSI is saying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. But you see no divergence. Oh, what's interesting is so if you go into the shorter time frame, you see we did make a peak with divergence. So it looks like to me, so now looking at it, it looks impulsive off the bottom, but it was being masked, something like that. And now we're correcting in 3. And we held this low. But we have too much divergence here. Now you see we did erase it there. Wow, this is a tough corrective structure. 3, 3, 3. Yeah, I would put it there as your first move. It could do that, okay? Or it could be finished. It could be finished, and it's coming off the low now. So it's tricky here, but you got to do what's best for you. But as long as it's above 21 cents, it could still rally out of this and make a turn out of this, and I guess you could call that like a double bottom. What you don't want is like a descendant triangle. So you gotta still respect the descendant triangle bearish continuation pattern. Here, you want to see that get negated. You want to see this get negated, hopefully. So just it's definitely I think it will be negated up, but it's a really tough. I don't like the break of the low, but it did erase divergence, showing there was massive capitulation here. Whatever happened here was massive capitulation. So you may not get that same level of capitulation again to break that low, but if you were to, then that's pretty bearish. So I'm looking at it something like this, and then out. It's just not a clean structure at the moment. Okay, guys. Okay for 5 anonymous. Thanks again. Yeah, Neo. Let's look at that. It's been doing really well. If you followed me for the last, since 21, right? December 21, we've been watching Neo go all the way down. Our buy area was always 689. It hit 720, and it's pretty much been a V bottom out of that. So if I look at this, this clearly has got more upside. I don't even have to do the chart. It should continue higher. It's in a wave 3 of 3. It could just continue. And there's no momentum divergence to speak of. It's, yes, I would say higher. The shorter time frames, perhaps this first wave 3 could come to an end soon, but it may not, because you still need a 4 and a 5, and then you still need another 4 and a 5, right? And see, even you didn't even it was so bullish it didn't even form the right shoulder. So it's just gonna go. It's probably coming up to 20. This area. It's probably coming up to 23 bucks. I think that's the target, and I think that's the left shoulder. We're in the head, the right shoulder, and then new all-time highs. So I do think this is where it's heading. And will it be a straight line up? No, it's going to be choppy, but the momentum is clear. It's in great wave 3 of the grand super cycle, and if you haven't bought it, yeah, I'm not sure what you were waiting for, because it definitely gave you a lot of time to buy it here. And if you followed me, we were talking about it, and that's why sometimes the perfect entry isn't always, a good idea. Like, this is just close enough. And I said this, I think I even had a video on Neo. I said, whether you buy it at $7 or $5, you're not going to care when it's traded at $40. You're going to care less. And then the people at $40 are going to say, oh man, if Neo was, $8, I would have loaded the boat. And I'm like, shut up. No, you wouldn't have, because you were too scared to do it. And that's what happened here. A lot of people were just too scared, and now they're going to start loading up here, which is probably not the right place to do it at resistance. But just like we saw it break through here, it could just break through that for whatever reason. So anyway, that's how I look at Neo. And China is bullish, and it's breaking out in a 3 of 3, the Hang Seng. So I think it should be supported. Thanks for the 5. All right, let's look at ENVX. ENVX. Whoops. Okay. So we've had that here before. So this was our short area, and it's struggling. You see, it's struggling. So I would say, let's take a look at why did I want to short that there. Let's take a look at what I was thinking because it's been a long time since I've looked at this chart. Oh, see all the divergences? That's probably why. Yeah, so this is a connector wave for that move. Okay, so this is a connector wave, so you have your first wave down. So yeah, so to me it's a short here. One of the few that maybe we come across in the market today and lower. And maybe a reverse split later, but I think it's under a lot of trouble here. And as you can see, you've got massive, this is like a shooting star candle on the weekly, very bearish candle. If you get bearish follow through and get into the 17s, then it should be massive panic in this instrument lower. And perhaps if you're wondering where could I buy it, dip buy it, I mean, if this low breaks, it could go to $2. So this company seems to be under a lot of pressure and stress for some reason that maybe that news is emerging, will emerge soon. But I do think this is very bearish. You can see these candles, they match up with these candles here where you saw this massive turn lower. So, you know, history, you know, rhymes, you know, and this is what I'm seeing. So this is it. I would say there's no reason to be bullish on this. This is the short area. It would have to come back and take out $24 to negate this view. All right, so that's ENVX. Let's see what else we have. GRTS. Growth Point Bio. Always get some interesting ones from you guys. You guys always you definitely get some new ideas from you. This is a massive flat correction, right? I mean, yeah, this is a classic. And look, and this is a classic wave 5. All the overlapping waves, the wedge-like nature of it. So yeah, this thing should be pumping soon at any moment. It more than likely once it breaks out of this wedge that I've got here. We should see bullish divergence, and we do on the weekly. You want to see that continue, but I do think this is another indicator, the monthly. If you look, it's right up on the trend line. You see that? Look, it's right about to break the monthly RSI downtrend. That would confirm to me the bear trend is over for the midterm and short term. So this is a setup. It's a good setup for trade. I don't know about an investment, but you know, what do I know? I don't know anything about this company, but I do know it could do that, right? It could, or it could bounce in 3 waves. And the bounce, you know, it could come back to $6-7 if it's going to bounce in 3. And if you're really lucky, it can come back to 15. But it's going to correct this whole move in this next bounce. So yeah, do what's best for you. What are these guys doing? What do these guys do? Let's see. Cancer immunotherapies. So it's got a phase 1 product. Yeah, maybe this if this company can pull out, what's its market cap? It's always like with biotech, I'm proud, you know, biotech in phase 1s, 2s, and 3s. Always like to look at the market cap to get an idea of where it's pumped. Okay, 100. Yeah, so this could easily be a 10 bagger if it could get to phase 3. So this could easily be up here with $1 billion market cap, but I don't know its pipeline that well or at all. So, but that's the look. So it should be ending this at any moment. All right, then the next one is ALT. ALT is 3 down, 5 up, 3. It's a lot of divergence there. Yeah, I don't know if I would prefer to trade this. This looks like a massive connector wave for the decline that it's been in. It's obviously in it's bearish trend, so we just have to assume it's bearish, that this is a bearish consolidation, and it's just some kind of I don't know. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. I mean, I look at this as just an A, B, C, D, E, and then it's in its next wave down. And then now it's coming down. So I think it's going lower from here. It seems to me that, yeah, 5 down here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like it's about to end 5 here. So it should rally, it should get a bounce, but I would expect that bounce to fail and then down. And probably more reverse splits ahead for it. So that's how I look. So I'm not very, I don't like that chart, but it should be bouncing more. It should be correcting that move and then bouncing. Okay. Is NEO due for a pullback? At some point that wave 4 will come and that will be the pullback. It doesn't look likely. Looking at the chart, looks like it's still got more upside momentum. That should carry it, but there will be a wave 4. Unexpected news, and that will be your pullback to go in on NEO. So yes, it is a wave 4. It's still got, it still follows the rules of cycles. It's not going to just go to infinity. There will be a wave 4, a profit-taking wave at some point. I don't know when exactly. It theoretically could happen at any moment. When I looked at the wave, there was very small divergence, bullish divergence at the top, but I didn't think it seemed likely the pullback would be deep if it was. But I do think a 4 pullback should happen, and there would be a pullback, but it's hard to say when, especially a stock that everyone's starting to FOMO into. Oh, what are your favorite stocks to hold or buy? I mean, I like the setups, and I rotate in and out of stocks that don't that show good setups. So like I post at Wingstop, and I'll kind of show why is Wingstop good? Not because I like eating there, but I do like eating there. Don't get me wrong, but I do like the chart even better. So the chart here, you have a cycle that clearly ended here, right? You can't debate that, right? You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 up and a correction. Now you have another 5 up. You made a higher high, and now you have another correction. Well, what does that tell me? You have overlap in waves, so this can't be a 3, 4. So this is probably a 1, 2, 1, 2. So if I do the extension, I can come up to 400. It may be even higher. So this is a great opportunity, I think, long-term investor. Again, could be wrong, so do what's best for you, but I do think this entry around this area could be a great long-term investment opportunity for a buyer. And look at the daily RSI, completely reset, divergence. It could even truncate. It may not even make it to 159. We don't know, but I think it's in the capitulation phase and higher. So I like setups like that, that play out like that. Okay, I like those kind of setups. I like things with 1, 2, 1, 2s. I don't like trade-in wave 5s, although they can extend the race divergence and continue the 3. I like a 1, 2, 1, 2 setup, and so I scan the market looking for those opportunities, and then just being patient in it, and then waiting for it to play out. GoPro's another example. You have to be patient. It's trying to finish, a massive, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you can get 3 and come out of this. Robinhood was one. So I was like, I'm looking for these 1-2, 1-2 setups. That's what I like to see with impulsive nature off the lows, with good, that those are the ones I like to pick up. So, and then of course they sometimes don't work out. Like, let's say GoPro could come back and break 206, and then I have to dump it based on my system. But more than likely it probably won't, right? I mean, so you just don't. So that's how I'm looking at the market. Like Domino's Pizza was one I gave you guys earlier here. I gave you guys this literally the day this happened at 290, and we're exploding higher. Now, that correction could be done. If it is, then Domino's Pizza is about to see wave 3 grand supercycle. So how high can Domino's Pizza get, right? $1,200. So that's the type of setups I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. So it's not a particular, like I just love commodities and I'm buying it. No, I'm looking for certain setups and then I'll play it and hold it. But they're all over the place if you look hard enough. But I do think the weak dollar continues, but then we should get a bounce, and then the secular weak dollar should play out. So over the long-term horizon, I think like commodities should do good, energy. I think the metals do well. That's kind of the stuff that really never worked, during the last tech run. And then I do think some of the tech, mid-cap tech would do pretty good too. That can pass on higher prices to its customers that essentially act like commodities. All right, so let's keep going and see what other questions you have before I wrap it up here today. Medtronic. Oh yeah, that company. Let's see here. I'd be careful in it. So I think it's in a connector wave. So you go, why do I say it's in a connector wave? Because one, a lot of overlap in waves, so the trend's lower. You have 3 waves, so that connector could be set here. So I'd be careful. You have a massive top-in pattern, and really the end of the grand supercycle in this stock, it has ended here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is correcting the grand supercycle. I believe if I go to the quarterly, let's take a look. So I do think this quarterly will take out that low. So I don't particularly like it as a dip buy. I don't like it as a dip buy. Do I think it's going to get as low as $40.30? I don't think it probably won't drop that low, but it could easily drop to the long-term trend line and retest that at 52. So I would just say I'm staying away from it personally, even though it is pretty sold off. But do what's best for you. It does show 3 waves here. There's a chance, and it did hit the wave 4 low, so there is a chance it could be finished. But I just don't like it personally. I think there's too much RSI divergence here for a 3-wave move. So I think it's a dangerous long. But I do think it does something like that. Yeah, that's Medtronic. Okay, good luck with that. K-Web looks good. Yeah, China played out just like we hoped for. I told you China was in a do or die moment. It was up against the wall. I was up against the wall, and damn, the wave 3 played out. And it goes to show you, like, just again, another 1-2, 1-2 setup. When we did our live stream, we were down in this area. I was like, okay, this is the moment of truth. And sure enough, wave 3 was born for whatever reason. And now we're out of a massive downtrend line. Also, YNN, I think, also did really well. And this is one of my highest performing trades in the last 30 days or so. Again, a 1-2, 1-2. Little nervous. I've been building that position, and now we're out of the consolidation. Now we're coming up against a much bigger downtrend line. But if we can break that, this thing could really get going on the upside. And you could see, China's really, really running. Emerging markets, 2 is about to break out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. I think emerging markets is also breaking out of a nice consolidation. So that's good. Those are good, opportunities. And of course, the K-Web doing the same thing, coming out here, and that should go higher. And that was our buy. And look, we got that buy right at 24.38. Perfect opportunity there. And so that's where it's heading. All right, so let's take a look at your anything else you guys have. FTCH. All right. Another one of these that looks like a flat down, an impulse up. So something like that. So the good news is you have an impulse. The bad news is it basically erased all the gains. But technically it should take out all-time highs at some point. It should exceed that again, given it's 5 waves up. So this is the area to start accumulating it, right in this area, which is where it's being accumulated. That looks like 3 AB, 1, 2, 5. Yeah, so this is a 5th wave. So it's 5 waves down here. Okay, so this is interesting. It's 5 waves down. So it's gonna 1, 2, 3. So because of that structure, I'm gonna change this count now to be something like and then this is just a 3-wave move. Well, that's too big. I won't label the impulse, but we have to just say that this is some kind of impulse off the bottom. It's got to be some kind of, we just don't see the 3 and 4. I won't look at it, but you have to believe that this is gonna correct. This 5-wave decline is about to reverse and should start to at any moment. So let's take a look. So you broke the downtrend trend line. You also broke it on the monthly. I think you have stealth accumulation happening here. Okay, so right now it's being accumulated. Yeah, so you can see, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, 2. So you got this like stealth accumulation happening here. So I'll be looking for that reversal out of this. So yeah, to me, that's kind of what I would be thinking. So something like that, and it should be coming out to either correct this move down in 5 or go to new highs is yet to be seen. But it could you know, do come 50, at least probably 50% retrace. 39. All right, so something like that. So do what's best for you. Okay, so I'm at about an hour, guys. I'm just going to scan through your final comments. If you didn't get your question answered, super chat, I go right to it and answer it. And I'll just scan through. Yeah, I'm seeing Rivians everywhere now these days. So I travel, I see Rivian a lot, more than I used to. So people are buying them. Fetch and Frey, both massive breakout stocks. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm telling you, I agree. I think it could go to $35, and I put it in my watch list because I may pick me up some of that. I want to understand more what they do, just to get a good idea what I'm buying. But that's a good one. Thanks for bringing that to our community's attention. Wingstop earnings are next week. Yeah, so Wingstop earnings. So again, I want to just show you guys what the earnings play on Wingstop. Now, Wingstop, you know, we saw this with Trade Desk earnings recently, and then because it could come down, you could see earnings drop a couple days later, consolidate, and then rip out of that. That's what Trade Desk did on earnings. It dropped, and then it ran. But the news, if you read the earnings, was actually really good. But for some, so you got to be careful of that on earnings. It could still drop into like 149, and then a few days later, people really like, you know, the fundamental investors go, oh, wait a minute, why is it doing? And then it pushes out. Or of course, it could just catapult out of it. So we don't, unfortunately, we're not a fortune teller. But I do know that don't be if it's here, don't be surprised for the drop. But that's an opportunity. That's a gift. And if you don't get it, well, you know, great. So you know, like on Friday, I was buying some of this, even though I wasn't where we are. But I want to buy more if we can come down here. And if I don't get it, fine, I have something. But I also have my eye on Crocs, which, you know, I want to see that drop here. Does the inverted yield curve bring recession? It's not a great predictor. I mean, it is a good predictor, but it's not 100%, as you mentioned. So I don't really rely on that. It's just an interesting thing to look at and think about, but no trade. I never make any trading decisions on the yield curve inversion. We don't see the price action before the listing. It typically starts at 10 or 1. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Nat gas I did earlier in the video. You can watch that. Okay, so again, I'm wrapping up. Thanks again, guys. Good luck with everything. Maybe I'll do another live stream tomorrow evening, and a late night live stream while the futures are out. So I'll probably do that. So anyway,